following podcast is for informational purposes only. The contents of this podcast do not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Take responsibility for your own decisions, consult with the proper professionals, and do your own research.
But one guy said, this next big thing, this was Sergej Kunz, the organizer of ETH Global. He said, this next big thing. And I said, like, okay.
GRTiQ podcast.
We are like astronauts, floating in the space of time, lost between past and future.
Welcome to the GRTiQ podcast. Today I'm speaking with Sergej Kunz, co-founder of 1inch Network, a leading DeFi solution and exchange aggregator that scans decentralized exchanges to find the lowest cryptocurrency prices for traders. As you're about to hear, Sergej is a remarkable person. Like many other guests of the podcast, Sergej's story is another example of someone who overcame many obstacles to become what they are today. Sergej is equal parts brilliant and incredibly hardworking. During this interview, Sergej talks about his background, how he became interested in crypto, the origins of 1inch Network and how it works, how 1inch uses the graph, and his perspective on the future of DeFi and Web3. As always, we started the conversation by talking about Sergej's educational background.
I have no degrees. Maybe a very important thing. I was born in Russia and moved with 12 to Germany and grew up here. And I started, it's not a degree, it's like you learn a professional. It's like I learned how to develop software, also software developer, software entwickler and in German. And yeah, that was kind of enough for me to just work for different startups. Of course, some of these or other companies, consulting companies, they were like looking for someone with degrees, but I proved myself very fast that actually I'm better than others because I'm spending time after the work. Normally, I spend time on my free time to develop myself, teach myself, learn new things. Yeah, this is kind of my background. I miss high mathematic understanding because I recognize that I can write algorithms and I can use already existing algorithms, but I need to understand them. And I need to understand a lot of things. That's why, guys, if you're still study, don't break. Learn math at least to write proper algorithms to change the world.
As you mentioned there, you got started early on outside of kind of a formal education programming, and you did this when you were quite young. What was the draw for you? What was it about programming and learning this type of thing that excited you as a young person? So
first time when I was thinking about computer, it was in Russia, in deepest Siberia. I found a book where I was reading about computer, how that works. So, and we had nothing there, we had no PCs there. We had no pizza there, no pizza. We didn't see pizza at all, such small things like were not existing there because it was like deepest Siberia. And I read about computer, about also how videos would work theoretically. Yeah, they were like really old books. And how CD would work theoretically because practically they didn't implement it yet. And when we moved to Germany and I got my first computer, what I first did, I reassembled it and put it again together to understand how it works. And after that, I started to think about, I can do more than playing games. And anyway, playing games was terrible on the PC because it was like cheap one. My cousins, my friends were like playing games like Diablo, but I couldn't because my PC was too slow. And I thought like, what I can do else with that? And the teacher in my school, they told us in a computer session that building websites is very complicated. And he didn't think that any one of us in any time of our life can do it. And I have seen it as kind of a competition. I spent a little bit of time in the library because I had no internet very long time. So I had to copy information through disks. And I studied at home how to program with JavaScript, with PHP, with HTML. And like half a year later, I came to the teacher and told them, look, I know how to write websites. Here's my website. So it was kind of the start of my story.
That story about you getting your first computer, disassembling it, and then reassembling it to learn how it works, it's almost like an early indication of how you approach things in your life. Is that true? I mean, are you that type of person that to understand things, you go to that level of detail to disassembling and reassembling?
Yes. Also, when I was really small, I reassembled all my tools. So to understand how that works. Yeah. And my parents were really angry about that because I broke everything. But it was interesting to understand how that works. It's also not only about also right now about software. I also try to understand everything. If it's something happening, I would like to try and understand what is behind that. If someone is kind of angry to me, I try to understand why, what I did wrong, or why this person is reacting like that. So yeah, this is kind of the approach how I do.
So after you created this website and probably stunned your teacher, one of the first things you did formally as a programmer was create a text messaging aggregation system, which again is a huge, incredible task. What can you share about that early product and what you did there?
So I started 2007 with some freelancer jobs. I built some websites. In parallel, I was still learning my profession. And one day I came to my boss and said, like, I have an idea. And if you support me, I can organize more earning for you and some additional earning for me because I am poor student. I earned like 400 euros a month and had to travel 100 kilometers every day and to the school 150 kilometers every day. So it was terrible. And I had at the end of the month nothing. So I couldn't buy new clothes. And that's why I had the idea. My boss had online shop, like web shop. He sold mobile phones with contracts in Germany and bundles. They sold like 2 cheap mobile phones, 2 contracts, and PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, whatever they had. And I told him I would like to rebrand it. I call it Russian Mobile. Terrible name now, but it was funny. And we had in Germany, before Facebook, a lot of people using small social networks, like also these German Russians who came from Russia, who are basically Germans like me. I have my German roots, and who came to Russia 1800 something. So they wanted to stay under each other. You know, no one just married German people directly. They normally married Russian Germans, if they were Russian Germans. And I just promoted this online shop, which I rebranded. All the processes, buying, contracting, happened through my boss, and I just did some promotion. So these were kind of my first steps. And one day I recognized I can build something. I guess one customer which I had wanted to have SMS sending, like bulk sending SMS. And I built small software for it. And I thought, why not offering it to everyone? So I built actually an aggregator for telecommunication services for sending bulk SMS and also stream SMS. Around the globe, I have a lot of providers, similar to what we have right now. We have a lot of integrations right now in 1inch. I had also a lot of integrations around the globe and small algorithm to decide who is the best route. So these were like kind of first steps
What did you learn about business or entrepreneurship by virtue of that? I mean, it seems to me that this was maybe one of your first experiences of having a vision and creating something. Did you get the bug to be an entrepreneur that kind of carries with you to today?
It was helpful. I learned how to sell something. So I sold to much bigger companies. I was one-man show. And I sold a service to bigger companies and bought somewhere and sold somewhere and earned in between a little bit. So it was funny. It was really helpful. So I understood how to sell something.
The GRTiQ podcast is made possible by a generous grant from the Graph Foundation. The Graph Grants program provides support for protocol infrastructure, tooling, dApps, subgraphs, and community building efforts. Learn more at thegraph.foundation. That's thegraph.foundation.
Hi, this is GRTiQ. As we near the end of 2022, a roller coaster of a year in so many different ways, the GRTiQ podcast is already booking incredible guests for 2023. The success of this podcast is the result of you, our listeners, who tune in each week to meet a new member of the Graph or Web3 ecosystem. Many listeners have taken a moment to leave a 5-star rating or a review wherever they download and listen to the GRTiQ podcast, and you can make a huge contribution in supporting this work by doing the same. This generous act, which only takes a few minutes of your time, has a huge impact on our efforts and the ways in which people can find and benefit from this podcast. I'm grateful for listeners who take the time to leave a rating and a review. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Roger that.
Before I ask you about Mayacom, I want to ask you about failure. A lot of people wouldn't be doing a lot of things you've shared so far in your personal story, right? About getting their hands on a computer, taking it apart, putting it back together, having a teacher say building a website's difficult, and then going home and learning how to do it. And then what you did here as a programmer with this messaging. Are you not afraid of failure? Are you attracted to taking risks? How do you think through that?
So I didn't took risks, I would say. I was staying 2-3 years in a company, and after I reached a specific level, like salary level, for example, and also learning level, so there was nothing to learn for me anymore, I switched to another company. Of course, I had some risks in terms of I'm switching to another company, and they eventually would remove me, fire me after 3 months. This was the case here in Stuttgart when I moved from Black Forest to Stuttgart, to a bigger city. The boss asked me actually why I'm that crazy and just get a flat in a city and move to the city and work, because it was really risky. One of those guys who was working with me, he went to the boss and told he would go if I wouldn't go, because he was feeling that I'm attacking him by shipping like a beast, because it was very important for me to deliver fast with high quality to prove that I'm in the right place. For me, it was kind of a huge jump to move to the big city from the Black Forest. And some guys were not happy because I delivered like a beast, like a 5-man team. Worked like overtime. They worked normally like 8 hours. I worked like 10 hours at least. I wasn't paid for this. It was included. So there was a case. I worked like 2 days at peace. I didn't sleep at all. Just 2 days without leaving the office. I got the food. My colleagues organized beer, food, and whatever what we needed. Yeah, and I worked. I had the luck that one of my colleagues joined also this kind of opportunity because we had to deliver. We had to deliver something for LG, and it was already late, and we just finalized everything like in hackathon manner, delivered it. And some people are upset because other people are better than they and more committed.
The next thing you did was in 2015, you started working on Miacom. What was that, and what did you work on there?
So yeah, I had to switch from a commerce connector. It was actually product aggregator. So again, my aggregation experience. I had to switch because I was mobbed by my boss, not boss of the company, by my team boss. It was difficult time. I lost my kind of agriness, or how to call it. I was not hungry anymore. I was damaged, kind of. I was mobbed all the time, and I didn't earn actually a lot. But I proved multiple times that I can deliver. But if you get mobbed by your boss, it's really problematical. That's also one of the experience for me, how to work with other people. Yeah, that mobbing is not a solution. Yeah, at all. So I switched to an agency. I learned a lot also in an agency before Mimacom. It was GRTiQ communication, something like that. They had a technical CTO, technical guy, who teach me a lot of with Docker, and based on this knowledge and some additional work at home on Java, I got the job on Mimacom. After like 5 interviews, they were still not sure about me because I had no degrees, but I've proved me very fast. In like one and a half years, I became one of the best guys in the company.
One of the things you did there was you worked on some huge projects, right? You worked with Porsche, for example. What did you do for Porsche? That seems like a fun company to do some work for.
Yeah, I had like before Porsche, I had like some jobs, like some consulting projects in the US. One of them was Bosch, Siemens, and then we came to the Porsche. They were looking for a DevOps engineer, and I had actually good amount of experience, but not the best, I would say. And as soon as I started at Porsche, they started to change inside. They have this traditional world of Porsche, and they have the new world, which was created actually in the time when I joined. It was really cool to see the change inside of such a big company, how you can optimize a lot of things with agile approaches. I learned a lot of there, and I improved my DevOps skills very fast. Did a lot of work at home as well, again, and also pushed forward a lot of topics inside. And then I switched to being external to internal. Porsche I got a job there internally, so I was Porscheaner. I'm still feeling we call us Porscheaner. And I like the methodology of Porsche. Like if you don't find something what you are looking for, just build by yourself. It's actually how the first Porsche was built by Ferry Porsche. He was looking for a car and he didn't find that, and he just built it by himself. And so new innovation was created. Yeah, new standards were created. And the same happened actually with Vonage as well. So I follow this mentality as well. If I don't find something, Anton as well, if you don't find something, we build by ourselves.
So when then do you become aware of crypto? As I listen to your story, you seem like somebody who's very capable. You're finding success at every job you work at, becoming a high performer. At some point, you become aware of crypto, and that piece of information changes the future of your life. When was that?
The first time, my first touch points were in 2011. My colleague on the product aggregator, Commerce Connected, actually this guy who started to mobbing me. At the beginning, we were like almost best friends, I would say. We shipped together like beasts, and one day it changed when he became my boss. So, and he showed me about Litecoin mining, and my boss, the company owner, they explained also that they bought some Bitcoin and sold them too early. And I played a little bit around with that, and I forgot about this because I didn't see something huge on that. When I have seen on YouTube a guy who built a mining rig for Ethereum, and I recognized that actually Ethereum is a virtual machine, a decentralized computer around the globe, it changed. So I got the feeling this is the next big thing. This is the future. And I started to, first I did some mining. And then one day I started my YouTube channel, Crypto Maniac. Why Maniac? Because like you see, like my commitment is normally at least 100%, at least. If I do something, then it's normally like 200%. So, and I started to talk about crypto, doing some beer drinking sessions on Fridays. It was funny. And I have seen a Ponzi scheme promoting on YouTube, and I try to explain people to not invest in Ponzi schemes. I started to explain. They say it's safe and it's on smart contracts, but it's not safe because smart contracts are programs. So you can read these programs, and there was no code. I tried to decompile it. Anton joined the call. He asked because he was watching me, and he said like he has experience, and we tried to decompile together and to try to understand what's happening inside. And based on this stream, the Ponzi scheme published the smart contract code to prove that they're fine and they are not Ponzi or whatever. And we did audit of it. And after that, we had just spent half of a year of our life to audit all other projects which came, and to explain people to not invest in some Ponzi schemes. There should be kind of, for example, there shouldn't be an owner, and it shouldn't have kind of a Ponzi scheme where you invest and you profit from other people who come after you. And this was kind of our time on YouTube. We streamed like 8 hours at piece sometimes, until like morning. And after a couple of hours, I had to go to my work. And it still performed. So less sleep means not you're bad in delivery. You are more creative, and you're doing more efficient from a point of view if you sleep less. So my first 1.5 years with 1inch project, also like 3-4 hours sleep a night, similar to you, Anton, but you're more creative. So also in a hackathon, if you don't sleep, of course, after let's just say like 28 hours, your body says, I need to sleep, I need to warm up. And to warm up, it's enough like to 15 minutes. Eyes close, and after 15 minutes, if you wake up, maybe 1 hour maximum, you're ready again.
I wanted to ask you about Ethereum. That was the light bulb moment for you. You said that you saw immediately in it that this was the future. Can you explain that a little bit more? It's a theme that's come up on the podcast multiple times, where people become acquainted with crypto, they learn about Bitcoin, but they don't get the conviction for what's happening in crypto and Web3 until they learn more about Ethereum. Explain that. What happened for you?
So what is cool in Ethereum is that you can build decentralized applications. Means, of course, you need a piece of software which you need to start somewhere, like a client, but you can execute anything. You can be on the moon, and you can still, if you have internet connection, you can still do something. Just imagine if Elon Musk create a colony on Mars, and Mars need to send money to Earth. They would use Ethereum because this is trustless, trustless and permissionless. So you don't have to trust any person, just the code. And I like this idea. So people around the globe can build applications, deploy the application, execute the applications, and applications can be composable. One application can use the other application. Like we have this approach in the traditional world in terms of microservices. For example, like Amazon or Google, they're building a lot of services, and they are actually behind these services are microservices, small service which does just one small thing. And this is kind of approach also for Ethereum, decentralized computer.
You mentioned Anton there in one of your prior answers. Of course, Anton, for listeners that don't know, is co-founder of 1inch. You two worked together to come up with the idea of 1inch. For listeners that don't know what 1inch is, describe what it is and how it works.
So It's a little bit difficult. We started with just aggregation we came to the idea on a hackathon how to build application which execute for the best rate on the market a swap. Yeah, so you come with one token and exchange for another token by using multiple liquidity sources and splitting between them, because it makes no sense to go to one exchange and exchange everything there. For example, $1 million, because the rate depends on the amount you exchange. So we came to the idea just to split it, small pieces, and exchange everywhere a little bit. So it's actually arbitrage among liquidity sources. And it was easy to build on Ethereum because every service is composable. Yeah, almost every, like Uniswap, Banker, what was there. Nowadays we are more. Nowadays we have more complex algorithm. With Anton, we came to a new idea. We introduced multi-path routing. So we use multiple markets. So if there's arbitrage opportunity or there's a liquid market which we can use to jump from one token to another token, we use them also in parallel. It's like a graph, yeah, from point A to point B in parallel. So just one thing, Anton came to an idea how to build a very efficient, decentralized order book protocol, limit order protocol, which is highly flexible, highly efficient. Anton with Michael, our lead blockchain engineer, they have built a highly efficient router also for Uniswap trades. So if you exchange through 1inch just on Uniswap pools, you also get the best rate and also best execution, better than the Uniswap itself, because our guys optimized really on low level with assembly, the execution itself. And it's like 10% cheaper than the Uniswap itself. We have a liquidity protocol. It was kind of actually like a joke project. Anton came to an idea how to protect people from front-running attacks by using virtual balances. About this, Vitalik wrote already 2016. We came later to these posts. This is still a huge problem. Front-running protection, sandwich attacks happening all the time. You swap on Uniswap, all the huge amounts, you get front-run. That's why we are launching very soon Rapid Hole. I'm going to present it in Vietnam and Philippines on the events. Just kind of which protects people from front-running attacks, more or less good by using flash bots and under the hood. It's just an additional RPC endpoint with additional microservice logic which optimize the execution. Yeah, we have other teams joining us under 1inch Network. 1inch Network is a decentralized project. It tries to become fully decentralized. We have a DAO, we have a multi-sig, we have $16 million in multi-sig, which were collected from the aggregation protocol. This kind of spread surplus, which is happening. It's a little bit that's what's happening when someone is exchanging, and the price and the transaction time change because something pumps, shortly. And this little bit goes directly to the DAO, and DAO can decide. You stake 1inch tokens, you're one of the decision makers. This is where we go right now with the 1inch Network. We have the foundation, which is fully independent from me and Anton. Serve the front end to ensure kind of independently existing client for 1inch Network, I would say. And there are contributors who are contributing to it. 130 people around the globe already. Yeah, this is 1inch. It's not just piece of software which offer you to exchange something. It's more. It's opening also doors for developers. You can apply for the grant. You can build something for 1inch Network. You can build something for the DeFi. You get a small amount of money to start on it. And we provide also support. We introduce to investors. We have teams joining us. One team is building 1inch hardware wallet, alternative open source solution to Ledger, which is closed. Yeah, they have kind of chip, and they say this is our magic, and we promise that everything is good. But I don't trust anyone, and maybe they have something what is not super randomly, and maybe someone can recalculate all these seed phrases and can drain all the wallets. No one knows, and that's why I feel there's a room for open source hardware wallet which can be built by everyone. You can buy it and you can order it in the future, and you can also build by yourself if you want, so with the standard technology. Yeah, fully open source, of course. Also, another team is working on decentralized storage. If you have seen the Silicon Valley series, TV series, they have built this decentralized storage, right? And these guys who are building this DNet thing, they actually built it already 2018 with a gas station company. The gas station company had like 200 gas stations, and they didn't want to host own servers. That's why on each of the gas station and on each of the computers, they installed a small piece of software which kind of organized decentralized storage, fully encrypted. So if you just private keys, you have only access to your files. It's working. It's already working, and they're adapting it for DeFi. I hope in the next years they will release it fully in production. I'm still waiting for a plugin to use it as Google Drive, iCloud Drive, so I can ensure that my files are encrypted with my private key and not with Google one or Apple one. So yeah, this is 1inch network. We are coming from hackathon. We participated with Anton on 17 hackathons around the globe. We were everywhere: New York, Boston, Denver, India, South Africa, Germany, Berlin, Stuttgart. Won a lot of hackathons, and a lot of people are also our friends from hackathons who deliver fast, highly efficient, and are super motivated to build a financial future.
1inch came out of that hackathon environment. I'm curious if you or Anton had any sense early on of how big and what an impact 1inch would have when you were working in those early morning hours, crunching away on code.
We had no idea, really. We had no idea. I was running around and pitching 1inch to everyone, how I did it normally. I was really bad in pitching, and also the judges, they didn't see any cool things on this implementation. But one guy said, this next big thing. This was Sergej Kunz, the organizer of ETH Global. He said, this next big thing. And I said, like, okay. We won like just $300. I was able to pay for my airplane ticket. And like weeks later, we recognized people start sharing the link to the app, and people start using it. And we thought, okay, then we need maybe a Twitter account. We set up a Twitter account, started to add new liquidity sources. So we were like working 1.5 years for free. With working in the nights for 1inch, traveling around the globe, working on hackathons, on different other projects. We have built like decentralized streaming platform, for example, in South Africa. Won also good prize for this, but we didn't continue to work on it because we have seen 1inch is something what's actually is useful for the user. We got good feedback from the community, and we grew up with the community. We didn't spend any penny for marketing or something in the first 1.5 years because we had no money at all. So we spent all time. I spent a lot of my time for 1inch. Yeah, our community helped us a lot. We got small amount of money from Gitcoin grants. It was also cool. One guy just sent us $50K. We were like, wow. How this? And actually it was mistake by this guy, but he didn't ask to get it back. We asked them to send him back because it was looking like mistake. And he said like, it's fine, guys. It's a small investment from my side to you.
You still in touch with this one $50,000 investor at all?
Anton, I guess, communicate with them sometimes. I need to thank this guy once again. It helped a lot. We were able to hire one guy who helped us a lot by developing it. And didn't take the money by ourselves. We just spent it for new people who joined. And now we are 130 people around the globe. We are growing like every month, like 5 to 10 people coming. And actually, I don't know everyone already. It's getting huge.
Hi, this is Sergey from 1inch Network. If my conversation with the GRTiQ podcast has been helpful to you, then please consider supporting future episodes by becoming a subscriber. Visit grtiq.com/support. grtiq.com/podcast for more information. That's grtiq.com/podcast.
GRTiQ.
Podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Let's talk a little bit about that because that's a unique experience. Scaling a dApp is incredible, and you went from 0 to 60 super fast. And I know it was a long journey for you. You were traveling around the world, you were participating in hackathons, but for most people that hear your story, you went from 0 to 60 almost overnight. But a lot of work goes into that, right? Scaling, like you said, you're hiring new team members, looking for funding. What have you learned through that experience of scaling 1inch from a hackathon idea to what it is today?
It's important to align everyone. If you have 100 monkeys in a house, they will just break your house. So they need to be aligned, everyone. So you need to speak with everyone. It is still my job, like, to communicate. I don't write almost no code. Sometimes when I'm in an airplane and flying from additional conference back to home or fly to conference, I try to code MVP or something. But yeah, normally I communicating with everyone, try to align everyone, sharing what's happening in the other teams. And we have also our team meetings. And it's, alignment is very important.
If you could go back in time and give yourself advice, maybe that night when you and Anton were working at that hackathon, coming up with this idea and building 1inch, what advice do you wish you would have known then that you know now about the journey you're about to take?
I wouldn't change anything. Nothing. Every step we did was helpful. And also it was additional experience for us. Yeah. So learning. Every time we learned something. We didn't raise 1.5 years because we couldn't do it, because we had no idea how to do that. We didn't understand how 1inch would looks like in 2 years. We had no idea. We just continued to do what people were asking for. So I wouldn't change anything.
What is your long-term vision for 1inch?
So this is also difficult to say. It's everything changing very fast. Like, we had months ago FTX as biggest exchange. Now we have FTX. I'm not sure if I'm able to say it. Like Elon Musk wrote on Twitter, Sam fucked 5 million people at once. Yeah, this is crazy. But maybe it's good for DeFi in terms of people start to not trusting centralized exchanges, because not your keys, not your money. And another Sam can do the same. MTGOX, a hack. We have seen this Canadian exchange as well, where this guy died, and actually people find out that he actually stole all the time money from the people, and he FTX gambled too much, and now a lot of people lost a lot of money. And why to trust people when you have other solution like DeFi? Don't trust anyone, just verify. When you sign something, verify what you're signing. And that's why we have built also 1inch wallet. So the wallet explains what you're signing.
Are there any upcoming news or announcements you can share with listeners about the community and the things you're working on at 1inch?
Yeah, we have a lot of things happening. A lot of teams joining. We have a huge grant program. Hardware wallet is coming. But it's an additional team. Which I try to help them in terms of like sharing my knowledge, how to maybe structure the team, which processes should be used, like Scrum, for example, how to speak with people, to work together, not like to let the people work for you. It's very important also for such a decentralized projects. I see it like I'm working with everyone there. And not they work for me, or something, And 1inch network itself, it's now governed by the DAO and also pushed through foundation. I am anyway not controlling the project, but we have all our reputation kind of. And so, what's coming? I'm gonna announce Rabbit Hole in Vietnam next days. It's a small RPC service with a microservice behind it, which sent the transaction to the miner directly, which you send to when you do 1-inch swap. So we are not covering anything else except 1-inch swaps to make more efficient. Yeah. So when you do a swap, you would be protected from sandwich attacks. It's very important. A lot of sandwich attacks happening right now on DEXs, and to prevent it, we need a new kind of protocols. For example, like there are kind of approaches which can help to protect from sandwich attacks. For example, introducing virtual balances, but I don't know why Hayden Adams didn't implement it yet. I tried to push this topic, but she's ignoring it somehow. Yeah, this kind of small service, what I need personally, because I did last time a trade, and I had, because of my residence in Germany, I had to sell my Ethereum when it dropped, so to fix my loss, so I can report it. It's also kind of nice things here in Germany, and I just sold my Ethereum and bought it again, and I lost like 10 Ethereum, and it was a lot for me. It's really a lot. Yeah, to prevent this, such service would be helpful. We are building on the next version of the network, I would say. This is a different approach of trading. I call it decentralized NASDAQ. I cannot share more, but I hope we can deliver it this year. I cannot promise this because it's not depending on me. It's a lot of people. I try also to help where I can. But if it would work this year, it would rock. Also, these topics for institutionals, what we are also working on, we have additional entity in Switzerland, and we are building kind of based on the community technology, based on the open source software, on the smart contracts. We are building institutional products. So institutionals can exchange between each other easily by not trusting anyone, just using the protocol. If you can release this decentralized NASDAQ this year, it would also push the institutional topic forward in DeFi space, I'm pretty sure.
What's your vision for the future of DeFi? I mean, 1inch is really powering the day-to-day activity of DeFi users, but as a whole, does DeFi eventually swallow traditional finance? Does it eventually get adopted by everybody in the world? How are you thinking about that?
It will be adopted, I'm pretty sure, because it makes the current financial system more efficient, yeah, more robust and more efficient, more secured, and inefficiencies would be removed automatically. This is life. This is like evolution, you know. Inefficiencies would be removed for sure.
How do you make sense of all the recent activity in the market? I haven't asked a lot of guests of the podcast this question, but the FTX thing was a big deal. 2022 has been a difficult year for the industry as a whole. How have you been thinking through not only what's happened, but the road ahead?
So for me, I don't care about like prices. If it's pumps or dumps, I don't care. We see on 1inch in any case on pumps or and dumps huge volumes, because you know, like we say in Germany, you need to wait to die. Yeah. And the trader needs to die one day in terms of they need to fix the position. Yeah. They need to sell or they need to buy or to start the position. 1inch is the best place for this with the best liquidity on the market. So all the hacks, what happened, it's of course terrible. It's because of lack of security audits from our point of view. On our side, we try to organize as much audits as possible. So the last V5 router release was with at least 10 audits, security audits, Consensus, OpenZeppelin, top layers. It was very expensive, how I know. I guess Foundation paid like huge amount of money to get these security audits. And the FTX topic is maybe good for DeFi. Of course, it's not good for people who lost their money. I know some of them. Some people were writing to me they're gonna kill themselves because of this. Just this one guy who just speculated and good English words fucked up. Yeah, I tried my best, so they didn't kill themselves, and it's terrible. It's terrible to see people losing money by having these actors who. This guy was sitting, in front of the US government and told, we are regulated by this entity, and this entity. But I'm asking, how how they were regulated if they did such a huge gambling, and lost a lot of money. We had similar case in Germany with Wirecard. Wirecard was like a payment provider, and they actually just stole a lot of money from investors and just did kind of fake operation. And also was regulated by BaFin. And I am asking again, how they regulated them. Maybe it makes sense to improve the regulation, to remove complexity parts like humans. Humans are complex. Humans are hungry for profits. If you remove humans and you audit a smart contract, maybe it makes more sense, and it's more secure for retail as well. If it's verified that this smart contract is not cheating in any time, then it's more secure and better regulated than to regulate and trust someone who promised they will not gamble with $8 billion. Yeah. In the future, of course, we need recovery time, maybe a year, maybe two, but this is good time to build something. Also for every developer, you have the time to build. Of course, you have problems with getting the money to start to build on something. But there are a couple of grants. So there's Ethereum grants program, there's Neo grant program, there's 1inch grant program as well. So apply for the grant, get small money to start to work on something. And also in these bad times, investors are investing. Yeah, VCs are investing. Of course, lower valuation, but we need to stay on the earth, better to have the right valuation of the project than better than something what is not real.
Sergey, as you know, a lot of my listeners are enthusiastic about the Graph protocol and how it helps serve and partners with a lot of dApps out there like 1inch. How does 1inch use the Graph?
We used Graph from the beginning, I would say, for a lot of things. It's cool to use for aggregate some information on chain. Actually, we aggregate the aggregated information right now. So we have some microservices which just provide aggregation information, and a lot of information also coming also from the Graph.
You once said, Sergey, that the coolest thing about this space is that anyone can create a unicorn company. You just mentioned there that we're probably entering a period of time where people will have space to create and build. What's your advice to listeners out there right now who might be afraid to take on the risk of building, or they're not sure if the time is right? You've done it. What do you say to them?
Keep building. Try. If you fail, stand up, build. It's this methodology I have from BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I do martial arts my whole life almost. And what I learned, there's someone else who's better than you all the time. So competition is really good. So you improve yourself. And if you overtake someone, there's someone else whom you can overtake and you improve yourself. And in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is when you fail, you try again and again and again. And one day you're better than this other guy, and just my experience. So I'm blue belt and I have still to learn a lot of things, but just keep doing it. You will achieve what you want. It can take a little bit of time. For me, it took like 18 years, but how I said, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change also the fact that my ex-wife decided to leave me and I had to live in the office for 1 year with no shower. I had my air bath and I was sleeping there with my daughter, which is 6 years old. She was like 3 years old. And we have her like 50-50, right? And so she was like 3-4 days with me in the office. I tried to organize it's like a home, but at the beginning I had nothing. I had to pay to my ex-wife. I had to pay for a lot of other things. And I wouldn't change anything because this is learning. Every step you did to this success is something what you need to get this success. This is how I see it.
One last question before I ask you the GRTiQ 10. Why didn't you give up? There's been a couple points in your career where you could have just given up. And I don't think anyone would have blamed you, right? You had a boss that kind of turned on you, made life difficult. You could have given up then. You lived in an office for a year with your daughter after a divorce. Could have given up then. How come you never gave up?
Yeah, sometimes it was difficult, really difficult. Also, just divorce was kind of, I got panic attacks, but I was feeling myself stronger after everything what's happened. Of course, it's sometimes very, very difficult. You need someone who can help you. And in my case, it was Anton. So when I was living in the office, here was this person who helped me to travel around the globe, to work with me, to also motivate me. And this helped me to not give up. And some people like giving up too early. And also based on my experience also from martial arts, I know one day I will reach a specific level which gives me a benefit. I will be better than someone, and I will achieve my goals by just keeping doing it. Also, I heard from my parents as well, from my family, just give up. I had a girlfriend. She said, like, give up with your business, with what you are doing there, with like additional work after normal work, doing some websites, portals, or whatever, building our own aggregator. Just it makes no sense. They said it makes no sense. Because you can just live and work normally for a normal day job and live your life. And I didn't agree on that because I have seen that I have the opportunity to improve myself. I can get better jobs when I am doing more than other people. And I knew that I will build something what is helpful and useful by other people. I had this feeling, I had the trust. And that's why I guess I never gave up.
Sergey, now I'm going to ask you the GRTiQ 10. These are 10 questions I ask each guest of the podcast every week to help listeners learn something new, try something different, or achieve more. So are you ready for the GRTiQ 10?
Yes.
The GRTiQ 10. This is the way.
10 questions for astronauts floating in space.
What book or article has had the biggest impact on your life?
I'm not reading books a lot, I would say, but I guess the Java book, which helped me to improve my programming skills, which I got as a gift from my first boss. I did small job in a shop and IT, hardware shop for PCs. And I was all the time looking this book and after like a week, the boss said like, it's for free, like take it. I cannot see it anymore that you're like going all the time to this book and reading something. Yeah, this Java book. Java is island or something like that.
Is there a movie or a TV show that you recommend everybody should watch?
Yes, the Silicon Valley series for sure. It's funny, it's cool, and it's also motivating a lot, I would say.
If you could only listen to one music album for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Disturbed. Maybe.
What's the best advice someone's ever given to you?
Best advice, I guess it was from my parents when they told me that I am too stupid to go to a higher school, to a higher degree. I guess this was the best advice, and I recognized it's not true. It cannot be true, and I'm gonna show them.
What's one thing you've learned in your life that you don't think most other people know or have learned yet?
It's difficult. Every person is unique. I have seen a lot of, I would say, shit in my life. Also, a lot of good things. I guess living in the office is one of greatest experience a person can get. If you can avoid it, avoid it. But if you are in this position, just try to do the best.
What's the best life hack you've discovered for yourself?
The life hack is repeat doing. It's like with like like 1 inch was called by 1 inch punch from Bruce Lee, and the mythology of Bruce Lee is he said like, I don't have a fear from a person who can do 1,000 moves, different punches or something. he had fear of a person who can do only one move, but which they trained like with 100,000 times. Yeah. So if you repeat something, if you try to do something, I'm normally very bad in a lot of things at the beginning, and to improve that, I just repeat, retry, repeat, try to change it a little bit, adjust, and repeat, and again. And the same when I play games, I play a game 10 times from the beginning to achieve the best result.
Based on your own life experience and observations, what do you think is the one characteristic or habit that best explains why people find success in life?
I guess because they don't give up. They don't give up. It can be that you try the whole life, but it's better you try and you don't reach your goal, but you reach something. And I promise you earn a lot of things by trying, or you achieve a lot of things. Maybe someone is trying to become a millionaire, but at the end, this person will recognize it was not about the money. It was not about to become a millionaire. It was about to do something what is helpful and useful. This is how I see it.
And then, Sergey, the final 3 questions are complete the sentence type questions. So the first one is this. The thing that most excites me about Web3 is?
The freedom.
And how about this one? If you're on Twitter, you should be following?
1inch.
And lastly, the thing that makes me happiest is?
What makes me happy? When my daughter is happy.
The GRTiQ 10.
After this, I show you how deep the rabbit hole.
Sergey, thank you so much for your time. You've been incredibly gracious, and I've really enjoyed learning more about your story and what you're building at 1inch. If people want to learn more about you and follow some of the things you're working on, what's the best way to stay in touch?
You can find me on Twitter, D6. I'm also on the contributor page on 1inch.io. If you go on 1inch.io, you get also some documentation, information. What is 1inch Network? How you can contribute if you want to contribute, or if you need a grant, you can ask also there. We have also a lot of links to Telegram channel, to chat, to Discord, to forum. So yeah, 1inch.io, you can find there everything. Also contacts of all the contributors as well. We have a page with a lot of contributors around the globe, so you can also chat someone if you have any questions to any of these protocols or implementations.
This has been a production of the GRTiQ podcast. For more information, including detailed show notes, visit grtiq.com/podcast. That's grtiq.com/podcast.
Please consider contributing to this project and helping build the community by subscribing and leaving a review.
GRTiQ
Podcast.